In 1919, a boy named Mordechai was born to a Jewish family. When he was 14, he joined a Zionist group called the Baader movement. A short 2 years later, he joined the Hashomer Hatzair Zionist group. In 1939, he attempted to immigrate to Israel in hopes to clear a path for some young people. Instead, he was met with Soviet soldiers who threw him into their jail. Eventually, he got out some months later, and in January of 1940, he returned to Warsaw, where he focused on the educational welfare of the ghetto, and he also started a private newspaper called Against the Stream. After Mordechai heard about crimes committed against other Polish Jews, he decided to take action. He insisted that armed resistance was essential. However, some of the elders of the ghetto claimed that this needed to be approached with precaution. They felt apprehensive because the Germans could seek retribution at a huge cost. His plans and connections with the people allowed them to prevail through thick and thin, and because of this, he was named commander. In September 1939, after the Germans invaded Poland, they also began forcing Jews into extremely small and overcrowded housing, the Warsaw Ghetto being the largest, with 490,000 Jews living there in total. The Jews would reside there until they would be gathered and sent to extermination camps such as Treblinka. By means of this, the Jews decided to form resistance and founded the ZOB, or the Jewish Fighting Organization, on July 28, 1942, with Mordechai Anielewicz as commander. On April 19, 1943, the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising began. 1,500 members of the ZOB opened fire on German forces with their makeshift weapons. This uprising was crucial in order to cross frontiers by implementing new ideas and displayed the strength and dedication of the Jews. On Monday, January 18, 1943, German troops went into the ghetto to gather all of the Jews for more mass deportation, which was the first phase of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. To their astonishment, they were met with an ambush. The fighting prevailed for many days, and several German soldiers were killed. On April 19th, Heinrich Himmler ordered for the ghetto to be cleared out for Hitler's birthday on April 20th. 1,000 SS troops infiltrated the ghetto with tanks and cannons. 60,000 residents of the ghetto were hiding in underground bunkers, but 750 to 1,000 members of the ZOB met with the German troops. The Jews set off gunfire and bombs. The troops were struck with minor injuries and retreated, and street fighting continued for the next 4 days. When the Germans returned, they had 2,000 troops and more tanks. At first, the Jews were able to hold them off, but slowly they began to cave in. On May 8th, the German troops found the ZOB headquarters and gassed it. Before his death, he managed to write one final letter to his friend Yitzhak Zuckerman. The following is an excerpt from that. It reads, "It is impossible to put into words what we have been through. One thing is clear, what happened exceeded our boldest dreams. The Germans ran twice from the ghetto. One of our companies held out for 40 minutes and another for more than 6 hours. The fact we are remembered beyond the ghetto walls encourages us in our struggle. Peace go with you, my friend. Perhaps we may meet again. The dream of my life has risen to become a fact. Self-defense in the ghetto will have been a reality. Jewish armed resistance and revenge are facts. I have been a witness to the magnificent, heroic fighting of Jewish men in battle. Civilians had surrendered, but any ZOB members that hadn't been killed in combat either died by suicide to avoid capture or kept fighting strong. On May 16th, the ghetto was fully under Nazi control, and the last strands left of the Jews got deported. Ultimately, most, if not all, Jews that were able to survive the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising were all deceased by the end of the war. After word got around of the uprising in April, other Jews in different camps wanted to show resistance too, one of which was Treblinka. People in Treblinka were taken from the Warsaw Ghetto, and they were killed in gas chambers, and the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was actually a response to these transports. Since Jews weren't kept here very long, there really wasn't anyone to revolt. However, around 1,000 Jews were kept to keep Treblinka running. After the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising started on April 19, 1943, the Germans were on a losing streak, especially in the Battle of Stalingrad. They soon realized that it was time to leave Poland. On August 2, On August 2, 1943, the conspirators took 20 hand grenades, 20 rifles, and handguns from nearby construction work and waited for their signal, a gunshot. However, everything went haywire when a German official found two men carrying money that they were planning to use once they escaped Treblinka, and he began to strip them and beat them. Another prisoner saw this and feared that the man would tell the others about the other conspirators' names, so he shot the German official. The others, thinking this was their signal, opened fire on German troops, shooting them, throwing grenades, and so forth. Gas had been sprayed around the camp, and so Treblinka began to set ablaze. Unfortunately, only about 300 people were able to escape this chaos that arose. All who escaped would be thoroughly pursued by the Nazis and had to go into hiding. Despite the horrible events that followed this revolt, the Warsaw Ghetto uprising had a tremendous effect on these people. Though they were presented with huge challenges like being sent to a death camp where everything was pointing to them dying there inevitably, they chose defiance, and they didn't let any doubt consume them, even when everything seemed to go wrong. Soon after Treblinka, different camps followed, such as Białystok, Szycowa, Bedzin, Sosnowiec, and many, many more. The Warsaw Ghetto Uprising and the founding of the ZOB caused many different organizations and uprisings to occur. Not only that, but Mordechai crossed frontiers because of his selflessness. He knew that he needed to show that he was determined to prove that the Jews would fight back, even if that meant he might not live to see the rest of it.